Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel and another live stream. It's been so long. I know I haven't had a live stream in August and I really missed it. I can tell. It's just something that I look forward to, and especially creating together. I just noticed I'm looking on my iPad and they're actually showing a commercial right now. That's terrible. That's crazy. So I was able to skip it. I hope you guys are too. Oh, hi Kale. Hi puppy. Wanna come in? Wanna say hi? Today I will introduce the brand new set to you. So tomorrow I have a big shop update. Tomorrow is Sunday, September 7th, 2025. I'm just saying it in case, somebody watches this later. So first of all, today we're gonna swatch all the colors, and I'm gonna excuse me, explain a few things about them, like the pigments and the background story about the color names. And this is what the little travel set looks like, or the sticker I should say. And then these are the colors. And this one here is the half pan set version. So, or half pan always sounds like you're only getting half of the color, but it's just referring to the size, because if it's double the size they call it a full pan. Don't ask me why. It's just how watercolors work. And last but not least, we're gonna paint a little loose watercolor beach scape with 6 or 7 of the colors of the set. All right, I'm gonna turn the camera around and let's get started. And as always, it's going to be a bit bumpy. All right, here we go. Servus, Moni. I do have, as I said, my iPad here, so I'm going to be able to look at the chat in just a minute once I have my phone in my holder. Okay, let's adjust. As always, please let me know about the audio, zooming in, zooming out, all that. Okay, let me just have a quick look at the chat. Hello, everyone. Hi, Sylvie. Hi, Moni. Hi, Kat. Hello, Kaylee. Hi, Tracy. Oh, Tracy is on the plane. Like, she's right now flying over the ocean. So are you flying from the mainland back to Hawaii right now? Okay, you guys, you see I have a lot of stuff on my table, and let me just put my tea over on the other side so it's far, far away from my paint water, because that's very dangerous otherwise. So I would suggest we start with the swatches, because then I can talk about the colors. So first of all, I want to point out that I did this sheet of swatches on 100% cotton paper. This is Baohong, which is a Chinese brand, 100% cotton. Today's swatches I'm going to do on the Canson paper, the XL paper, which is not cotton, it's just wood pulp. I always feel it's very interesting to see the differences between the different papers and to see how different the colors turn out. I did these swatches here in my tiny little handmade sketchbook made by Denise Artmoments from Switzerland. This is also cotton paper. And I did not really see huge differences with this paper. I'm sorry, I was sick so much in August and July, and I'm still congested, so I apologize if I have to make these terrible sounds today. These ones, like whenever my husband makes them, it just drives me insane. And now I'm doing them myself, drive myself insane. I was gonna say, in some instances, there are some handmade papers, for example, that will show the color in such a different way. It's super interesting. For example, khadi paper, Khadi, it's made from recycled cotton fabrics, and a lot of colors show up completely different. So just a heads up to always try your paints on different papers, and this might be another way to find your favorite paper. Okay. Ciao, Donatella. Yay, we got somebody from Italy. That's so cool. Okay. Hi, Castine. Hi, Lisa. So I can see most of you guys are either from Germany or from the US. And we got one from Italy. And now the chat disappeared. That is so... Guys, what's going on with this YouTube thing? Okay, hold on. So I had to swipe down to make that chat visible again. Without further ado, let's just jump into the paint swatches. Ooh, the Netherlands. Goedendag. Rebecca. Okay. So I should probably say it's 11 colors, right? Plus an opaque white. I know. White is not really considered a color, but it's all colors, right? It's interesting. It's a very opaque titanium oxide. Titanium oxide white is the most opaque white there is on the market, to my knowledge. And to make it be a little different from the titanium white I already have in the shop, which is Milky Way, I added shimmer in this one. So this one does have shimmer, and I think it really shows up best in this little book here because I added black paper. So I hope you can see. It's very subtle. It's not a super sparkle. It's not like one of my color shifts or super sparkle shimmer. It's really very subtle. And this paint is excellent for painting stars, for painting little highlights, and for mixing with the other colors as well. And I'll show you that later on. So I added some stars here on the black paper. So yeah, this white will show up very nicely on different papers. The darker, the better, I'd say. And you'll have more coverage the more layers you add. So you wait until one layer is dry, and then you can add another layer, and it's going to be very opaque to the point where you can't see what you wrote underneath it. Hi, Nicole. Oh, that's right. Oh, Steph is from Canada. Wonderful. I love having people join the stream from all around the world. It just makes me so happy. Okay, you guys, I think I'm gonna just grab one of my favorite throat lozenges, just, you know, because I don't want to make all these sounds today. It's gonna make me talk funny though, so just can't get it right. Next color is a Mars Yellow. So it's very similar to yellow ochre. However, this pigment here is synthetically made, man-made. And it is very opaque, and it is super bright, vibrant. I mean, in comparison to some of the natural yellow ochres, there are so many different ones. I do know that. So there are very bright and vibrant ones, but there are also ones that are a bit more subtle. So this one has a very strong yellow vibrant color. I just dipped my brush in water and I'm just going towards the swatch I already painted. I just want to create a little bit of a gradient here so that you can see what the color looks like with more water and less water. So the colors and the names I didn't mention. Hoku. Hoku means star in Hawaiian. And because the whole set is dedicated to the idea of voyaging, wayfinding, which is an ancient tradition in Polynesia and in Hawaii, to navigate the oceans with using just natural cues. So, for example, reading the stars, even reading wave patterns. It is so incredible to me that the Polynesians and the ancient Hawaiians were able to sail the seas without anything that the Western world uses today, you know, like GPS and compass and all these things. So yeah, I just thought it's just something. And last year, I believe, or was it this year, was the 50th anniversary of one of the most famous rebuilds of the original outrigger canoes that the Polynesians used to sail the world. I'm gonna get to that in the next color here, the Hokulea. So this is the name of the canoe that they rebuilt in the 70s, pretty much to prove that the Hawaiians and the Polynesians were able to circumnavigate the world with just the means of their like natural wayfinding capabilities. And they did it. I think the first voyage was to Tahiti from Hawaii, but they just spread out more and more. And if you've never seen pictures of this voyage of the Hokulea, I strongly suggest that you Google it. It's such a fascinating story. I mean, you have to imagine that people had to relearn this way of navigating the seas. It was pretty much something that was a legend, kind of like a myth, you know, kind of like you sit around the fire and you tell stories about how people were able to sail the world with just using the stars and the waves. And, you know, when you came close to land, you would see this bird here, for example, looking at the sun and where it's situated in the sky, looking at the moon and where that's situated in the sky. So there were a few people who took it upon themselves to study those old ways. This color, sorry, this color is, it's a pigment red. So it is a red pigment. When I bought it, it's called rosewood. So I would assume it's an oxide pigment, you know, a red oxide, kind of like an Ercolano red. It's very close to that color, fox brown, reddish brown. What I love about it is that when you dilute it, it almost has like a peach rose tint to it. So it's very versatile. I believe you can even use it as a substitute for an orange peachy color, especially when you mix it with the golden beach. I'll show you that later. Let me look over to the chat. Hi, Amy. Amy says, aloha from California. I lived in Honolulu for 3 years and love Aloha Studios. Thank you. Up next is Eva. And I'm probably not the only one thinking of Wall-E when I say Eva. Have you seen that movie? It's still one of my favorites. So very, very bright. Oh, it's so bright. Ah, I love it. This color is a very strong but still transparent scarlet red. And it is the most difficult paint I've ever made, other than what was it? Was it Pyrrole red? That was tricky. There was another one, I forget. Some type of alizarin crimson. Oh my goodness. But this one, super difficult. Cracked in the beginning. I added more binder, then it never dried, and I tried something else, adding more glycerin. I mean, it was just, you know, guys, I started the set in April. So it's like almost 6 months ago, trial and error. And it was mostly due to this color. I knew from the start I wanted this color because I was so in love with this great frigate bird. In Hawaiian, it's called iwa. It's one of the most iconic birds in Hawaii, and it's also present in a lot of tattoos. This one here, this is the symbol version of this bird, and you'll see it everywhere. And again, for the Hawaiian voyaging, this bird was important too. So I knew I was gonna include a very bright red in the set, so that you guys have the option of mixing other colors with it. So this one and the blues will mix purples, and this one with the yellow will mix oranges. Okay, next one is uala. Uala is the Hawaiian word for sweet potato. Now, the sweet potato was not something that already grew on the Hawaiian Islands. It was something that those ancient Polynesians, when they came over, brought with them, because when they went on their voyage to discover new lands, they didn't know what's going to wait for them. They didn't know what kind of food sources were going to be there on the new islands that they hoped to discover. So they took a whole bunch of plants with them. I think it's around 24 or 25. And the sweet potato was one of them. And of course, there are different types of sweet potatoes. So there are the ones that are white inside and like beige outside. And then my favorite ones are the ones that are super purple inside. So nice. And they're so delicious. So up to this day, sweet potatoes are kind of like a staple food in Hawaii. I mean, in the more traditional Hawaiian cuisine. You can even find like different types of sweet potato chips these days, you know, in different colors, super fun. It's like white chips, orange, and purple. And this color is inspired by an ancient color, which was called Tyrian purple. And it was originally made from extracting snails, Tyrian snails. So terrible process. I don't even want to think about it. So be assured, no snail had to suffer for this paint. This is completely synthetically made. I used different pigments, blue pigments, red pigments, mixed them all up until I got to this color. Okay, I'm just moving around here because I have to swipe down on the chat all the time because it's showing me more commercials. Please let me know if you have any questions. If I skip over something, I'm explaining too fast, or you want to know more about a certain aspect, just let me know. Up next is a very light phthalo blue. I was actually surprised this is a phthalo blue. For me, phthalo blue is always a little darker, I guess. But it really depends on how they manufacture it. And this is also the name giver of this whole set. So Huakaʻi means to travel. It means trip, voyage, and with a lot of names in Hawaiian. it's not just that one meaning on the surface, but it can go deeper in the sense that you could take a journey both in a physical or in a spiritual way. They basically also say that even if you take a trip to places that you already know, you always have the potential to learn something new, which I love. I just love this idea of not having to travel the whole world, but to go to places that you already know and maybe discover something new. There's so many words in Hawaiian, and when I discover the meaning of them, quick disclaimer, I do not speak Hawaiian. I'm still learning, but I try to dive deep into the meaning of the words, because a lot of the words in Hawaiian have a deeper meaning or multiple meanings. Okay, on to the next color. Uli uli is not just dark blue, but any dark color in general. This is a kind of an interesting concept. So, you know, for example, in German, even in English, colors are very defined. I guess green, light green, dark green. In Hawaiian, when you say uli uli, you could talk about a dark sky, the dark ocean, the dark blue ocean, the dark green forest. You can even talk about a dark blemish on your skin when you hurt yourself. It's very versatile. But I have seen it be used the most so far in connection with the color blue. So talking dark blue. However, I just wanted to point out that it's not reserved solely for the color blue, but also just in order to say that something's dark. And this is a pigment called anthracynone blue. I was gonna spell it, but I'm just gonna not do it. You guys want me to try? Anthracynone. Okay, ANTHRACHINON. It's probably Greek, right? I have no idea where this word comes from. I was really more interested in finding names for the paints that kind of fit into the whole concept than to see where the actual pigment name comes from. So this color, this blue, is a warm blue. It leans toward red. And a lot of blues that we have are naturally a cool color. But as I said, this one has a red undertone, so it's considered a warm blue. And it mixes differently than if you used a cool blue. I have a whole video here on the channel, by the way. I'm going to link it later down below in the description section about warm colors and cool colors and mixing greens in particular and how different they turn out, if you are interested. Okay, up next we have a natural genuine indigo. So for those of you who are really not familiar with how paints are being made, you can either make paints from pigment, which is kind of like a dusty powder, right? Ground up rocks, synthetically made pigments. But you can also make pigments from plants. So in this case, this color, this really dark indigo, is made from the indigo plant. It's a very unassuming plant. It's a, has like tiny oval leaves. The flowers are beautiful. They're purple, but the actual paint or color is not made from the flowers, but from the green leaves, which is kind of mind-boggling, isn't it? So you gotta extract that dye from the plant and then dry it and grind it up, and then you have a powder. I do want to mention at this point that all paints made from natural dyes, made from plants, are not 100% light fast. So if you paint a painting with this natural indigo and you use a lot of water like I did here, and then you have it out in the full sun, the color might change over the course of months. So it's probably gonna turn into a little bit more of a grayish tint. So I do wanna warn you guys about that. It's gonna be better if you use more pigment, less water, or if you mix this color with another color. And of course, if you wanna be on the safe side, just use it in your sketchbook. But it's just such a gorgeous color. And I know that it's like almost 100% that my Aloha watercolors are light fast. So I really kind of thought about this for a long time. Should I introduce colors that are not light fast? But on the other hand, you know, my neon fluorescent colors in the shop, they're also not light fast. They will also change with time. So I do already have a few. And I figured you need genuine indigo in your lives, my dears. It's just too good not to have. Okay, Nicole says, I really like this shade of blue. So I'm not sure if you're referring to the Uli Uli or the Imiloa, but aren't they just both so gorgeous? Okay, up next, boom. This is reminding me of the Eva color, because very strong, very bam, in your face. Phthalo green with a yellowish undertone. Beautiful. I have another phthalo green in the shop, which has a blue undertone, so it's a cool color. This green is a warm green because it has a yellowish undertone. It's very transparent. It's very tinting. It is fantastic for mixing. So if you want to create other shades of green, vibrant greens, and you mix this with a vibrant yellow, so not this one, but another vibrant yellow, you will have lime green, for example. When you mix this one with golden beach, you get all sorts of beautiful mossy shades. Okay, Sylvie says, what does Sylvie say? I hate the crema one. I bought a pan years ago. Oh, really? Did you, are you talking about the natural indigo? So the natural indigo I do not have from Crema. I have a lot of pigments from Crema, but I do have trouble with that now because Crema is a German company, and well, I don't want to rant here, right? But it's gonna be so much more difficult for me to get my hands on certain pigments. Let's leave it at that. So I got this natural indigo from an American company, and it is very easy to work with, I have to say. Okay, Sylvie does talk about the indigo. Oh, you made a vat with, ooh, cool. Wait, am I getting this right? You took the natural indigo and you made a vat to dye fabrics, maybe? Oh, okay. Now I'm getting it. Synthetic one. So you bought the ready-made Crema pan with a synthetic indigo. I have that, not by Crema, I made it myself. I just love this color. It is the Kohola color in my shop. That is the synthetic indigo pigment by Crema. So that one I love. It's the color I use probably the most. Okay, and then let's go down a little bit. And Tracy Arctic Turn wants to know, Eva was painting using this set. Yes, absolutely. I made the whole bird with using only the colors of the set. I actually did a whole bunch of paintings using the colors of the set, which I'm happy to share with you later if you like. Okay, let's go on to the next color, which is a chromium oxide green. Now, this is a very, very good staple color to have in your set. So, as you can see, it's highly opaque, as pretty much all the chromiums are. It's almost like a gouache color. And it's just such a joy to have for landscape painting. It mixes super well with the golden beach, also the hokulea, all the blues, everything. It's just gonna create such beautiful warm greens. And the beauty about this paint is that, yeah, it is opaque, but when you use it with water like this, dilute it, you'll just have this. Look at this. Oh, I just love this color so much. It's so pretty. See here, I used more water for this swatch. Even has what looks to me like a little bit of a granulation, which I did not expect at all. And those two names, let me talk about the names. So for the phthalo green, it's called hala. And hala is a very interesting tree in Hawaii. It was another one of those canoe plants. And it was brought over because the leaves of this tree are being used for weaving almost anything, like from bowls, hats. They even made roof thatching material. It just so many uses large mats to cover whole floors. So this is an extremely important plant. And I thought, okay, this is not really what the leaf color looks like. You know, it's more like a mix between these two colors. But this is such a strong, bright color, and it's such an important plant in Hawaii. So I thought it just needs to be this strong signal color. On the other side here, the chromium oxide green, Vauke. Vauke is the Hawaiian name for the paper mulberry tree. And in ancient Hawaii, fabrics weren't made from what they're made today, you know, polyester or cotton or bamboo. They made them from the bark, the rind of the mulberry tree. It's an insane process. I took a class once, a weekend class, and we had to like soak it and then pound it for hours, you know, the bark of the tree to make it soft, and then you kind of lay the fibers over each other, and then you pound some more and you dry it. Oh my gosh, I mean, you know, I thought that making paint is a long process, but let me tell you, making what's called kapa, or in you know, in the rest of Polynesia they call it tapa, is such a long process. However, this paint name is not dedicated to the finished clothing or cloth or fabric. It's just dedicated to the color of the leaves of the Vauke tree or plant. Okay, let me look over to the chat. Nicole says, that would be wonderful to see your colors come to life in your paintings. So yes, please do share your paintings. Okay, I will. Let's finish up with the swatches. Next one is my favorite, or my personal favorite in this set. And it's Perylene Green. So when you buy Perylene Green from one of the bigger brands, you are probably gonna have a mix of pigments or a blend of pigments. This one is a single pigment, which means it is really just one pigment to make this color, other than this one, which is 4 different pigments, for example. It's a very expensive pigment, very expensive. So we have a pigment that is looking dark green. When you use it with a lot of water, look at this beautiful color. I love it so much. Gosh, it's gorgeous. It has a, I'd say, a bluish cool tint to it. And the beauty about this color is that you can use it opaquely and it looks almost black. And it can be black when you mix it with Imiloa indigo and then the last color in the set, which is a Mars Crimson. Very interesting. I mean, you will have noticed that there is no black in the set, but you can easily mix it. And I'll show you that later. Okay, let's go on to Ho'okele. Okay. Ho'okele is navigate or navigator or to seek far in Hawaiian. And this pigment is a Mars Crimson, very opaque. So similar to the chromium oxide in opacity, or, you know, the titanium white. And it really reminds me of a Caput Mortuum pigment. So, puppies. 1 second. Hi. Hey. Why are you guys fighting? Calm down. Apologies. Okay, Mars Crimson. I'm just gonna dilute this a little more. So on certain papers, this brown will have an almost purple undertone. Such an interesting color. I mean, it is brown, but then it is very cool brown, so not warm. You know, like this one is a warm reddish brown, right? Hokulea. And then this one, Ho'okele, has a very cool undertone. And here we go. All the 12 colors. So I really tried to create a set that you can take with you. So it's small, very portable, and it lets you mix, I'd say, pretty much all colors. And I'm going to show you how to make black in a second. And you can actually see it here on my Eva bird. You know, doesn't it really look black? But it's a mix of those 3 colors, Dark Knight, Ho'okele, and Imiloa. Okay, let's put this to the side. I'm gonna grab some of my paintings. Just a minute, you guys. Okay, so this Apapane bird, I used the, or did I? Actually, no, I didn't. So the only the only thing I used from the set is actually the Vauke chromium oxide, and then that's it. Forget about this one. This has not enough colors from the new set, but I do have other ones. Let's see. Okay. Where is my? Oh, well, here's the original of the Eva bird. So these are all colors on the new set, and then I also added some colored pencil and neo colors. So the texture marks are not watercolors, those are colored pencils. And then this one, this bird is called Akikiki. Isn't that adorable? Akikiki. Also, colors from this set. The yellow you see here, it was a very light wash of Golden Beach, but then I did. I don't think. No. You guys are ridiculous. Uh-huh. Yeah. Apologies, my dears. They're barking at the sleeping cats that have been asleep on the couch outside for 2 hours and not moving. And then all of a sudden the dogs decide, oh, now we have to get up and bark. Anyways, sorry. So I did say I added a light wash of Golden Beach Mars yellow and then some colored pencil on top, because these birds are they are not warm yellow, they have more of a cool yellow tint to them, so that's why I did that. But everything else, so this is the indigo here, this is the chromium oxide green, this is the Eva scarlet red, this is the Huakaʻi phthalo green, the browns are both the ho'okele and the hokulea. Here I used some more in the dark parts of the feathers, and then you can see here uala, sweet potato, mixed with the imiloa. So you don't have to paint landscapes, you know. This set I think is very versatile to paint other things as well, even though I did conceptually speaking created it to paint landscapes. Okay, let me put these away. And so I did some mini landscapes, again with the same, with the colors of the set. So this is what we're gonna paint today, later. Then a very, very dark and moody one. You can see the white streaks here. This is from the titanium white Hoku paint. Galaxy, this is a very good example for how opaque the titanium white can be. And then this was just a little trial piece using some more of the colors of this set. Okay, so before we hop into painting this mini beach landscape, let me show you a few of the mixes I talked about. Do you have any questions? All right. So I have several mixing palettes here today. Let's start. I hope this is dry. Okay. I'm gonna start with our Golden Beach Mars yellow. I'm gonna put a little bit on my palette. I'm rinsing my brush again, and let's create some oranges. So I'm gonna add some of the Eva Scarlet Red over here. Okay, so this is pure Eva Scarlet Red. Rinsing my brush twice. Adding some of the Mars yellow on the other side. And now I'm going to pick up just a smidge of the Eva Scarlet Red and mix it in with my Mars yellow, Golden Beach. It's amazing. Oh my gosh, it is so strong. The red is, I mean. So this is already, I think, way too much red, even though I took just a tiny bit. So let me add in some more of the yellow again. I just didn't want that much of a reddish tint to it already. Okay, now we have a really beautiful, you could call it like an Indian yellow hue or like a new gamboge. Okay, now let's add a little more red. Here we go. So very nice, almost coppery type of tangerine orange. And adding a little more red to my yellow mix here. Love it. So just a tiny bit more closer to the Eva red. I'm just going to add a little more because I think these are very close. Just making it slightly darker, going towards the Eva red. Okay, let's see. You can also give me suggestions of which colors you'd like to see mixed. So feel free to put that in the comment. I'm going to go ahead and grab some more of the Eva Scarlet Red. Let's just dilute this a little bit. And one of the blues. So let's grab the Uli Uli Anthracnone blue. Oh, it's such a nice, deep. Put this on the other side. Okay, Sylvie says Hala and Eva. Oh, interesting. That's gonna be, what's that gonna be? Red and green? Is that gonna be brown? Let's find out. But first, let's do Uli Uli and Eva. So I have a little bit of blue on my brush, but I think it's a bit too much. So I'm actually rinsing my brush. And now I'm gonna pick up just a bit of the blue. Mix it in with the red. Okay. Apologies for like jumping back and forth, but you always want to put the color that's closer to the original on each side. So because I mixed just a tiny bit of blue with my red, you know, this swatch is closer to the red one. Grabbing more blue and adding it to my red mix. Swatching it here. More blue. Maybe a little more, make it darker. And you know, the way this purple is, it's very interesting. You can actually tell that this blue is a warm blue and not a cool blue. If this were a cool blue, you'd have more of a cool bluish purple. And now we have something that really is a very warm purple. Let me grab some more of the blue from my pan for the last mix. So let's make a dark purple here. This is so pretty. Aloha, Emin. Aloha.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm gonna head over to the cabin.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Hey guys, my neighbor just came over. I think he's gonna. Yeah. Oh, that's fine, Emin. Yeah, she was here a minute ago trying to bark at the sleeping cats.
Oh.
Maybe they're here.
She must have gone chasing them.
Oh, you know what? They probably went up the driveway.
Yeah. I'll go find them. Okay.
Bye.
Sorry to interrupt that.
Oh, no worries, no worries. People always come over.
It's like Mr. Rogers.
Well, if you've ever attended one of my live streams, you know that people just pop in here and, you know, sometimes we have Dougie, Mr. Fish. He comes in and just brings some poke or some fish. Or this was my neighbor, the one who owns 3 of the 4 Chihuahua dogs we have here. But, you know, we share the same driveway. The dogs just, they go back and forth. I don't think they realize that these are 2 different households. Okay, Sylvie asked for a mix of Eva and Hala. I would not have thought of that. I love it. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna put Eva on this side, rinsing my brush. And I just see in the chat that Janice is here. Honey Chai. Hi. So, and Gaily says, kannst du Hala mischen? Die einzige Farbe, mit der ich nicht so gut klarkomme. She says, could you mix Hala? It's the only color I'm not really getting, or I don't know how to work with. So Hala is the phthalo green. I'm not quite sure I'm getting the question right. So this particular color is a color that you can't mix from other colors easily, but I don't think that was the question. I think she wants to see this green mixed with other ones. Okay, let's start with what Sylvie suggested, to mix Hala with Eva. So this is the phthalo green. I'm going to put this on the other side and also here on my palette. I mean, I would just think that this would turn into a brown, honestly, but let's see. You know what's interesting, when you have phthalo turquoise and mix it with a very bright red or pink, you actually get purple. So that's interesting. I added a little bit of Hala phthalo green to the scarlet red. And that is a very cool color. I'm rinsing my brush, picking up a little bit more green. Oh wow, this is awesome. I don't even know what to call this color, but I love it. Look at that. It's like a maroon, I'm at a loss. I usually am never at a loss to, you know, give colors names, but this one, not sure, but it's great. Ooh, and now we're getting into the dark umber. Oh, nice.
Okay, go ahead, daughter.
Okay. So yeah, ooh, I think, you know, if I had used less water, this could be almost like a Van Dyke brown. Very nice. Yeah, this color is so cool. And I also love that dark bluish brown. Oh, hi, Carol. Hi. Hello. Did you have fun? Oh, did they leave you? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let me have a sip of tea. Jessica says it almost looks like dragon's blood. Oh man, that's true. It does look like dragon's blood. The very elusive pigment. Well, thank you, Sylvie. This was a great suggestion. So for all of you guys, Sylvie is also a watercolor paint maker, and she's super knowledgeable about pigments. Oh, I can't believe this. I have not coughed in so long, but you know, I honestly have not talked for such a long stretch of time in the last few weeks. So I guess okay, I really hope I can make it to the beach painting today. Let's see. Okay, so Gilly asked for mixes with Hala phthalo green. So let's do it. Grab some of the phthalo green. Put a little swatch down here. Rinse my brush. Okay. Now a classic would be to mix it with the yellow to get some nice mossy green, natural green looking greens. Okay, Golden Beach on the other side. I'm grabbing a tiny bit of the phthalo green and adding it to, it's like avocado. Ooh, that's so pretty. Actually, you know what? Let's try even a more yellowish version. So I'm gonna dip into my pure yellow here. I just want an even lighter version of this. Now I'm adding more phthalo green. It's so interesting how different it is, just adding a little bit more green. You know, the first time I mixed them, it really looked like avocado, and now you have this chartreuse and then like an apple green. Okay, mixing in more of the phthalo green. This would be like a, you know, Maigrün in German. And last one, picking up the rest of my phthalo green and mixing it in. Gorgeous greens. My favorite is this one though. The almost like a mustard chartreuse. Oh, it's so gorgeous. Okay. Should I do another mix with the Hala phthalo green? What'd you say, you guys? Do you want to see some teal colors maybe? I'm just putting a little emphasis on this one because I said you guys should suggest things, and this was suggested. So let's do it. Phthalo green. You see, I switched to my other palette. Okay, so let's do it with Huakaʻi phthalo blue. Okay, picking up a tiny bit of phthalo green. And now we're gonna have all these beautiful turquoise shades going up and down in this row of swatches. So perfect for oceans. This is actually what I did here in my miniature beach painting to create that ocean. Green, adding it in here. And the rest of the green. All right. Kaylee said, wonderful, not Sonderfall. In German, Sonderfall is the exception. It's cute because you know how Siri autocorrects our stuff. So wonderful turns into Sonderfall. Okay, let me show you guys the black. Yeah, so just something. Take the indigo. And the Pearland green, Dark Night. And the Ho'okele, Mars Crimson. I'm rinsing my brush in between. And you have a very lovely, very dark blue. So depending on what your color looks like, you can add more to give your black the kind of underneath, the kind of undertone that you want. If you want a more bluish undertone, you add more indigo. If you want more green, you know. So, of course, now I have a lot of water, so it is kind of like a watered down version. Let me see if I can get a bit more opaque so it looks like a deeper, darker black. It's a lot of rinsing my brush here. And the Morse Crimson. So you can see now it has almost like a purple undertone because I added more of the Morse Crimson. So yeah, if you use this color more opaquely, you'll have a really nice strong black. This more looks like a gray at this point. But you know, for shadows and stuff, you might actually use this type of gray as well. Okay. How about we do some mixes with the white paint? I think having an opaque white in a set like this is, I guess not, I don't know, I don't recall seeing that much, other than having maybe a tube of white paint come with your watercolors. I remember we had that at school. Those really terrible round pans of compressed watercolor bricks that was like painting with chalk. So yeah, I'm grabbing some of my Voila purple and mixing it. So nice, so gouache. Again, because I'm using so much water, it still looks like watercolor, right? But it is way much more opaque than using any of the non-white colors by themselves. So let me try and add a more opaque version of the white here. So my mixes are so watery because I keep rinsing my brush and not drying it enough. So I dried it a little more now, and now we can see how opaque it is. This is a method you can, put into action with all the colors of the set. Let me paint it on top of this so you can see. Scrape, scrape, scrape. I hope you can see the opacity of this color now. It's kind of covering up the dark gray underneath. I'm just gonna hold it up to the camera a little bit so you can see that better. Bye-bye, Sylvie. Yeah, no, it's late. Oh, it's 10 p.m. already in Germany. Thanks for hanging out. I know it's late. Always appreciate you guys tuning in from all parts of the world, even if it's an inconvenient time. Okay, so this was part 1 of today's session. So the swatches and then mixing some colors just to give you an idea of the possible mixes you can create with this set. And now let's move on to our little loose watercolor beach. Okay, I'm gonna put these to the side. Okay, I mean, I think I need to change my water. I'll be right back, you guys, okay? got my water all clean now. And hey, you guys, the wind just picked up like crazy. It's eerie. So it's full sunshine out there, but the wind just came up. So I heard that there's another hurricane approaching, Hurricane Kiko. It's almost like my name, Keiko, but without the E, so it's Kiko. Yeah, well, I hope it's not gonna be a bad one. Usually we get really lucky here on the west side of the Big Island and it kind of passes, so I really hope that that's gonna be the case again. Okay, so naturally you don't have the colors that I'm using today, you know, because the shop update is tomorrow on Sunday. So just use yellow ochre, and then you can use Ercolano red, for example, or reddish brown, like a burnt sienna. You can use a dark brown like Caput Mortuum or a Van Dyke brown, any type of chromium oxide green you have, or, you know, another warm green. Sky blue, phthalo blue, cobalt blue, whatever you have, and dark blue, indigo, for example. Okay, let's get started. So I'm using a size 8 round brush. The paper I have here is French paper. It's actually sold by Gerstäcker in Germany and Austria. But the paper is made in France, and it's kind of similar to Arches, or as we say here, Arches. It's cotton, 100% cotton paper. You do not need cotton for this today, but I just wanted to tell you what paper I'm using. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, okay? There's no need to be so far away. Okay. I'm gonna get my water over here so you can watch me use the water as well as the paints. So just water, and lay down a very loose shape of the sandy beach here. You don't have to cover everything with water. You know, I left some white spaces, and now you take the yellow. So in your case, yellow ochre. In my case, Golden Beach Mars yellow. You'll just drop in the paint like that. And if you like, you can even put some wild strokes across. I put washi tape down to tape off my paper. You don't have to do that. In this case here, I just made a loose border. So it depends a little bit on the look that you want to achieve. And don't mix the color too much. So if you have spots like here where the color is more opaque, just leave it like that, and then also have some lighter spots. Now, while the paint is still wet and the paper is still wet, take some of your reddish brown and drop it in here at the top, very randomly. If you want your paint to run, you can tilt your paper, or you can just leave it be. I'm rinsing my brush again, and I'm picking up the Mars Crimson, so dark brown, and just putting in a few more little blobs. And don't worry if it looks like molten lava or something at this point. It's really gonna dry nicely. And as I said, you can achieve a kind of like a runny down effect by tilting your paper, but that's totally up to you. So if you want this to look more like rocks, you can wait until this part of the painting dries a little more, and then, you know, you can do like some round shapes with your dark brown. Excuse me. Okay, I'm back. So I'm just gonna add a few more round shapes here resembling pebbles. I always try to make the painting we do in a live stream slightly different from the original painting. So with the tip of my brush, holding the brush upright, adding a few random oval shapes. Okay, rinsing my brush again. And now we're gonna do this little part here with the palm trees. So chromium oxide green. And I didn't wet the paper first, so we're gonna go right in. I'm holding my brush like this, so I can shape the upper side of my little hill here. So I want crisp edges for this one. Painting in a little more. And now I'm stopping. Just with this kind of like thicker outline, I'm rinsing my brush, drying it a little bit, and I'm picking up some of my yellow. And now I'm pushing the yellow onto the paper and into the green. Now, these paints are both very opaque. And if you're using any type of chromium oxide yourself and yellow ochre, you'll have the same thing happening here. So I just rinsed my brush and I'm drying it. And now I'm picking this color combo back up. So I'm gonna pick up the pigments into my brush, rinsing my brush again, drying it. I'm gonna do the same thing. I want this part to be a bit more luminous. So see how I'm picking up the pigment and kind of like creating a more light version of these paints, and I'm also mixing them together. Rinsing my brush again. And now with my clean, damp brush, I can continue to shape my little hill here. If you want your colors to mix and blend, you can drag your brush down to that brown part where, you know, it's still wet, and just connect them in a few places so that everything mixes and blends here. I'm rinsing my brush one more time and drying it, and go over this part one more time to make it a bit lighter. Also twisting my brush, like rolling it across the paper. Is this close enough for you guys? I hope you can see this all right. Just let me know. I can zoom in some more if you want. Up next, let's do the palm front. So I rinsed my brush. It's damp. It's really not that wet. And I'm just dipping it into my chromium oxide green. And then with a little distance away from our green hill, hold your brush upright, make a little dot, and then from that dot, move your brush towards the outside very quickly. You're making very quick strokes while you're also lifting up the brush. So kind of like a spider all around. I need a little bit more water, so I just dipped my brush tip into the water. And then just move your brush. So these are very tiny movements back and forth on the fronds of your palm tree and add little tiny lines. And you don't have to add it on every frond, just indicate a few. Picking up even more water, diluting my paint a little bit, and I'm doing the same thing over here. Little dot, and then just going out into all directions. And adding a few details. It's still a bit too strong to me, this color. So I used my palette to dilute it some more. And let's add a little tiny tree down here. Yeah, this is more how I like it. More water, less pigment. Okay, I'm gonna rinse my brush all the way and dry it off. I'm gonna pick up some of this pigment again. You don't have to, this is just my personal preference. I don't like it to be so opaque. So this is what's called a thirsty brush. When you wash it, you rinse it and you dry it off. And it's kind of, you know, able to pick up liquid again. Then it's called a thirsty brush. You can, of course, also use a brand new and dry brush. I wouldn't really recommend using a paper towel because you might also end up smearing your painting, especially if other parts are still wet. Okay, so that's a bit tedious. But in order to avoid what I'm doing right now, you can just from the start use a lot more water than I did and way less pigment. Okay, so my little space spiders here, they look so funky. That's so funny. Picking up a tiny, tiny bit of the dark brown paint, Huakaʻi. And with very quick strokes from my space spiders, connecting it to the hill. You can even add a few strokes even if there's no particular palm tree there. You can rinse your brush and then just blend in that brown with the green a little bit, or you can leave it. I left it on this side and it just created those little, almost looks like roots growing on the surface. All right, you guys, are you still following along? Any of you painting along, or is it too late? Where are you at? Okay, for the next step, we're gonna need Huakaʻi, the phthalo blue, or, you know, any other kind of light blue that you have. And this is gonna be for the sky and the ocean. Cassine is painting along. That's wonderful. Okay, for the sky, you just add a line of blue up top. You stop just right in front of the palm trees. You don't want to necessarily have these two things mix and blend, so make sure you stop before you reach the palm trees. Drag the paint down a little bit like this. And just drop in more paint to make the sky bit more intense. And then you can also add little pops of blue in between the trees. Again, make sure you don't touch the green of the palm trees so that they don't wildly mix. Donatella is also painting along. It's 10:15 p.m. in Italy. Yeah, that wouldn't be too late for me either. My husband would already be in bed. I'm more of a night owl. Aquamarina says, hello, hello, I finally made it, friends. Hi, Marina. Okay, I rinsed my brush. I dried it off really good because now we're gonna make the clouds. So you can see I'm holding my brush like that and I'm pushing my dry brush into the blue paint. So we're doing the thirsty brush technique again, where you clean and dry off your brush really well. You can also use a paper towel, of course. And then you remove some of that blue pigment, rinse your brush. And, oops, oh wow, that was close. Okay, guys, I gotta do a little clean up here. This hardly ever happens to me, I'm saying. But my friend Tanya just sent me a hilarious reel about pottery mishaps and accidents, which I've all done, all of them. But usually I don't spill my paint water. This is maybe even a first on this table at least. Okay, no worries, nothing happened. I just have a wet towel now, that's fine. Okay, we're just gonna continue with the dry brush and picking up that blue. It's gonna be easier, by the way, if you're using non-cotton paper, because the pigment doesn't soak into the paper as much as it does on cotton paper. So you're gonna have an easier time. For example, on that Canson paper I used earlier. You can also try a different brush. So a sturdier, more snappy brush with a different shape, like this Filbert brush, might work better too. If you have a very soft brush, you might have way more trouble lifting your paint. So try to find a brush that's pretty sturdy and pretty snappy, elastic. Usually brushes with synthetic fibers are a little bit more elastic. Not always, but they tend to be. Okay, when you find that your paper starts to pill, you know, because you're scrubbing too much, then just leave it like that. But I'm still okay. I'm rinsing my brush with clean water again, and it's a bit more damp now. So I can really try and push the white into the blue. Okay, again, I have just clean water, and I'm not drying off my brush all the way, so it's still pretty damp. I'm just kind of scrubbing from the white of my paper into the blue of the sky. And you don't want to do everything the same. So because these are clouds, it's going to look more natural if, you know, one side is lighter, the other side is a bit more blue. And then you can, I still have a little bit of blue that I just picked up on my brush. And you can dab that back in to the bottom of your clouds. Okay, Donatella has that brush with water inside. Do you know the name in English? Yeah, it's super easy, Donatella. It's just a water brush. Some call it an aquash as well, but it's actually a brand name for, not a brand name, it's a Pentel brush, aquash, but just a water brush. So these ones, yeah, where you have the water inside the brush. Yeah, and those are very sturdy and it should work unless you have a very pointy tip, then it might be a bit difficult. I don't know, I'm not sure I've ever tried it with, oh yeah, ooh, look at that, that works beautifully. Okay guys, use a water brush. It works really well. Okay, we got the clouds. And as I said, if you have sturdy paper, you can scrub way more and, you know, make it look more like clouds. But let's move on to the ocean. I'm back to my round brush because I'm going to utilize the tip of the brush now. I'm picking up some more of my phthalo blue. Checking the color on my palette. That's good. And now I'm going to paint a line across my painting. So I'm not using any type of ruler or anything here. If you want to make sure your line is straight, you can wait for everything to dry. Put some washi tape here, tape it off, or you can use, you know, a ruler. Excuse me. But honestly, I don't mind if my horizon is not straight. Okay, from this line, just add a little bit more blue. And then hold your brush upright again, and then just add a few zigzag lines here. Now we're going to add the phthalo green. I still have some of my palettes. I'm going to use that. You need just a hint of this phthalo green. And you mix it in with the blue. Just dab it in while the paint is still wet to create this kind of turquoise feel. Wow, that line is really wonky, isn't it? Okay, let me try. Now it's funny because I'm looking at my painting not from above, but from an angle. It looked really straight to me. Okay, we have just one more step. However, because the water is so wet, I mean the ocean water is so wet still, I want to wait a little bit until I add the horizon line with indigo. So I do want the ocean to be still a little damp, but just not too much, because if I add the indigo at this point now, it's just gonna totally explode, and that's not the effect I want. So, you know what? In the meantime, we can remove the washi tape here. Ta-da! I really like this one. This is by the Pigeon letters. I like that it's just white with those cute birdies. Just reminds me that I've been wanting to make my own washi tape for I'm not kidding you, years, and I just don't get around to it. I have so many ideas all the time. But oh, wouldn't that be great? Little washi tape. Aloha washi tape. Okay, so let's see. You know what? Let's just try it. Again, I have my pointy round brush, picking up a little bit of Imiloa Indigo. And let's just dab it over here to see how much it's spray. Yeah, it's fine. Hold your brush upright and you just want to add a tiny line across the horizon. So whenever you look at the ocean and you look towards the horizon, it's interesting how dark it is just where the horizon is. I actually never noticed it until I started watercolor painting and started painting oceans. And when you look at things as a painter and analyze things, you notice things all of a sudden. And one of them was, oh, the horizon is actually dark. So this spread a little bit too much, so I'm just gonna do the thirsty brush technique again and pick up some of my, or rather I should say, like try to blend it away very carefully. I do advise you to just wait a little longer to add the dark horizon line rather than try to do what I do now, because at this point I think most of the papers will start to pill. So just be very gentle. Okay. So, one more thing that I didn't do in my original painting is I'm gonna add very faint circle lines to indicate some rocks. So I diluted the paint quite a bit. And just indicating a few pebbles here and there. Can make some dots as well. Okay. And here we go. Janice Honey Chai says, yes, aloha washi tape, right? I mean, oh, you guys. Okay, my next big project. Hawaiian birds is, oh, that would be so cute. Or birds and flowers. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit and show you what we did today, especially for those of you who tuned in a little later. Oh, it's soaked. Thank goodness it's not raining today, so there is a chance that everything dries, which is not always the case here where I live. Okay, so we started this session today with swatching all 12 colors of the set and then creating a few specific mixes and blends. And then I showed you a few of my bird paintings, and we painted this loose watercolor beachscape. Okay, so tomorrow is the day, you guys. For all of you who are live watching right now, so tomorrow, Sunday, 9 a.m. Hawaii time, that's 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, it's 9 p.m. in parts of Europe like Germany, France, Italy. And that's it for today. just real quick, I'll have, sorry, this little travel set available. And I will also have a few of the regular pan sets. I have 2 full pan sets as well, but I mean, that's a lot of paint. And yeah, this is it, you guys. I will put everything I talked about, the materials I used, in the description below. Thank you for joining today, and I'm looking forward to the next live session. The next live is on the 15th, I believe, and it is a Aloha 25 September challenge. This month's color is orange, and I'm not sure, are we going to have the cats and potted plant live first, or is it the food packaging? I can't remember right now, but I'll put it down in the description as well. All right, you guys, I hope I see you at the next live stream. Until then, keep safe and happy creating. Aloha.